Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's segment. This is Reed Prescott. I'm the Sales and Field Development Manager for nutraMetrix Custom Health Solutions. And the topic of tonight is how to pique the interest of a health professional. And before we started the recording, I asked the group here who's with us live, I asked them, how do you think you pique the interest of a health professional? So I'm going to go through some of the things that you guys shared. Let me go up to the top. So we have building rapport via conversation. Somebody else says ask if they have a wellness program or if they have wellness programs. Oops. We have somebody that says just say hello. Nutrition matters, education matters. Through a weight loss program. Somebody says, I think talking about custom cocktails is a great way to pique their interest because patients can't buy that anywhere else. We have someone saying recently via TLS, through genetic testing. I skipped one. Today's challenges require patient adherence and patient results. We have somebody saying, after showing the money, asking if they would like to refer another health professional. Oh, interesting. And by asking for the referral, it changed that health professional's mind. Interesting. Okay. Find out their why. Build rapport. Isotonic delivery. Okay, great. So you guys, none of these things are wrong. But the real way, and actually the first one was the most accurate in my opinion, and that was actually from Alan. How do you pique the interest of a health professional? By listening. And I think, and I see this in the Facebook group. We all, I have a meeting with this kind of specialty. What should I go in ready to sell is really what you're asking when you're asking what products should I know about. That's really what you're asking. But we need to listen to our health professionals because listening equals learning. So you heard, but did you really listen? Because most people don't listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. And I'm guilty of this a lot. Interestingly enough, not so much within nutraMetrix, but I am guilty of it in other areas of life. I think we all are. And I have often told a story that I had a consultation with a dental practice. And had I gone in with what I thought that practice needed from our dental health regimen, I would have completely missed the mark. This particular dentist was the only dentist in her area who saw children. She wasn't a pediatric dentist, but she was the only one in the neighborhood that would see children. And she was more concerned with what they were putting in their face, not what it was doing to their teeth, but what it was doing to their body overall. And so at the time, it was a couple years ago, the best fit for them was our TLS Shape Up program, which is currently not, we don't currently have it. We may have it if you're listening to this later on as the recording. So make sure you check to see what we do and don't have because we are a product brokerage company. So we really need to listen to what our health professionals are sharing with us. Okay, we get it. But what are we listening for? That's a fair question. Well, we're listening for the answers to the questions that we ask. So we have to know what questions to ask. And we had a couple NCs say that the best way to pique the interest of a health professional is by saying hello. I don't disagree with that either. We have to obviously get in front of the health professional through referrals, of course, is the best and most effective way. So what questions are we asking these health professionals? Well, why don't we take a time tonight to talk about the questions that are actually on the 15-minute appointment form. Because it's one thing to know what those questions are, but if we can know why we're asking them, not only will we be able to remember, let's say if you are out and about and you happen to be at Starbucks and meet a health professional, you could do a quote-unquote 15-minute appointment without having your 15-minute appointment form if you understand why you're asking these questions. So let's start with establishing questions. Now, these are the questions on the 15-minute appointment that ask, what is the primary specialty? Are there any other specialties in the practice? And what are the most common patient conditions? Now, these are very basic questions, but they're important, and you can't skip them. Even if you're certain that it's just one doctor with one specialty, don't be afraid to say, are there any other specialties in the practice or any other specialists that work in the practice? Because you don't know who might come in on 2 days a week. They're just not on their website or not on the plaque on their door. And this is laying the cement foundation that we're going to build for this metaphor, the nutraMetrix house upon, or the building, or the nutraMetrix wellness center. There we go. Okay, so in the establishing questions, really of those three, what we really want to know is what are the most common patient conditions. I will sometimes rephrase it and say, so what are the three most common patient conditions that you deal with? Now, this is where your health professionals that you're consulting with are going to give you disease states, and that's okay. It's our job as the NC to write down those disease states, even if we've never heard of it before, write it down phonetically. What you don't really want to do, unless you're really in a conversation and it's just sort of naturally, and they mention a disease state that is you've never heard of, and most people have never heard of it, you might say, well, what is that? But generally, you're just going to want to write it down and go home and do the research. But it's not enough just to know the specialty. And it's not enough really to know just, well, the patient conditions are going to help you identify what is most important and what that practice needs. So let's use the example of an OBGYN. Now, you don't need to type this in the question box. I want you to just think about it. What do you think of all the nutraMetrix products and services that we have? What's going to be the best fit for an OBGYN? Well, I think the first thought would be, well, I'm sorry, what kind of support is probably prenatal support. That would make sense, right? Well, they might also need postnatal support. They might need just general female health support. They might need postmenopausal support. They might need weight loss support. They might need some other kind of support, like the dental practice that I just mentioned. We don't know until we listen and find out what's needed. So that's where the patient conditions are really going to come into play. So if this practice really needed just general, this actually happened to me, by the way, general female health support. It wasn't an OBGYN, it was a gynecologist. I accidentally assumed it was an OBGYN. So I came back with a prenatal, a postnatal, and a weight loss support regimen. And granted, almost every practice could use weight loss, but I had egg on my face a little bit when I had provided a prenatal regimen for somebody who had nothing to do with kids and delivering babies, or women that were, unless they happened to be her patients before she referred them to an OB. So, by the way, it was a really quick and simple fix. I took responsibility for my part, and I just said, listen, and I built in a follow-up. I said, listen, I'm so sorry. I made an assumption. And when I come back next week, I'll have a female health support regimen for you to look at to see if it's a fit for your practice. So every time you make a mistake or don't or forget something, it's always a reason to build in a follow-up. All right, so those are establishing questions. The next set of questions is simply to figure out, is wellness a fit for the practice? So these are the questions. Do you currently provide any wellness services? Do your patients ask, or do they need to lose weight? They may not ask to lose weight, but they may need to lose weight. Do you currently provide genetic testing? And do you provide anti-aging? Those 4 questions are to assess if wellness is a fit. And this is what I always add, especially if they say no. Well, or I don't know. Do you currently provide genetic testing? That often an eyebrow is raised, and I often get, well, what do you mean? I briefly describe what nutrigenomics is. And then I say, well, would it be of value to you in your practice if you were to be able to provide that kind of support? Do you provide any anti-aging programs or solutions or education? Well, no, not really. Well, would it be of value to you in your practice if you did? So you see, that's a question that you almost can't say no to. All right? And the next set of questions is where we are ghosting the competition. So what ghosting the competition is, it's a marketing term. That simply put, by stating what you do have, it puts a little mental light bulb above the person you're talking to realize that whatever other companies that are out there, or maybe a company that they are working with already, doesn't have that, say, isotonic delivery, education-based weight loss, affordable nutrigenomics. So this is where, by asking a question, We're illuminating what they don't have, exposing their pain in a way. So do you provide education on your website for your patients? A lot of times the answer is going to be no. Sometimes they will provide a lot of education as it pertains to their medical specialty and medical procedures. I see it in dentistry a lot. They provide a lot of education about the procedures that they do, but they don't usually have anything on prevention. So I might rephrase that. Do you provide any preventative education on your website for your patients? Oh, no. Would it provide value to you and your patients if you did? Or if you had access to that kind of education? Would it help you to have career advancement or incentives for the staff? Well, would it provide value to you and your staff if you had a way to provide incentives to them? And simply by asking them if they are able to provide career advancement or financial incentives, it goes, oh, now I haven't said we do, which we obviously do have ways to do that, but now they're seeing everything that they don't have, either with the companies that they're currently working with, or if they're not working with any kind of wellness companies, what's possible. When we simply ask the health professional about their revenue goals, we're ghosting the competition by placing us in a business consulting role rather than a product representative. We can't even be product representatives, you guys. We have so many products because of the product brokerage that we can't be reps for a product or even a product line, really, because we have so much. And then when we ask them their I did it, this is one of my favorite parts of the consulting process. And as you guys may know, I try to incorporate this in the 15-minute appointment. And I believe I added it to the NC implementation workbook. I know I'm pretty sure I did. When we ask them if they could look ahead or jump ahead 5 or 10 or 20 years, however long that they're going to be in business, and they could look back without a shadow of a doubt, with a big smile on their face, and everything that they set out to do, they achieved, and we say, and you could say, I did it, what did they do, or what does that look like? In the phrasing of that, we are ghosting every other person that's ever talked to them about providing a product or service in their practice. We're ghosting the pharmaceutical reps. We're ghosting all the reps from all other wellness products. So those are the questions in the 15-minute appointment. And I hope that by sort of getting underneath, getting to the why we're asking the questions, provides you with a little more posture and ammo and tools in your tool belt, and any other metaphor that I can't think of at the moment, for you to have the confidence that we all desire for you when you are meeting with health professionals to consult for them.